What if there are silent assassins lurking in your life, not with weapons, but with words, attitudes, and emotional manipulation? People who, unknowingly or intentionally, slowly bleed your energy dry, twist your perception, and leave you feeling utterly depleted? You've felt it, haven't you? That lingering exhaustion, the unexplained anxiety after certain interactions, the creeping doubt that whispers you're not good enough. It's time to expose these hidden threats, not to confront them, but to protect yourself. Today, we're ripping off the Band-Aid and diving deep into the uncomfortable truth. There are 12 specific types of individuals the ancient Stoics warned us to identify, understand, and most importantly, have the courage to walk away from. This isn't about being judgmental or isolating yourself. This is about radical self-preservation, about reclaiming your sanity, and understanding that true inner freedom often means choosing who doesn't get access to your most sacred space, your mind. Get ready to gain the clarity and strength to cut the cords that are silently draining your soul. Hey everyone, and welcome back to True Stoic Mindset. Before we dive into the how, let's first understand the why. Why do some people direct negativity, even hate, towards others? It's crucial to grasp this fundamental truth. Their hatred rarely stems from a genuine flaw in you. More often than not, it's a reflection of their own internal landscape. Think about it. Truly secure and content individuals have little need to tear others down. Their energy is focused on their own growth, their own happiness. Those who hate often operate from a place of insecurity, envy, or a deep-seated need to feel superior. Your strengths, your successes, even just your way of being, can act as a mirror reflecting their own perceived shortcomings. Instead of confronting their own issues, they project their negativity outward. They try to diminish you to feel bigger themselves. Consider this. Perhaps you've seen it in the workplace, a colleague constantly making snide remarks about your achievements. Their criticism isn't about your work, it's about their own fear of being outshone. When someone tries to provoke you, they're essentially trying to pull you into their emotional chaos. They want a reaction because your reaction validates their negativity. It gives them a sense of control. They thrive on knowing they can get under your skin. This is why traditional retaliation often backfires. It gives them exactly what they want, a fight. The Stoic philosophers understood this dynamic centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." By refusing to engage in their game, you immediately disarm them. You deny them the emotional fuel they crave. Their hate is their burden, not yours. Recognizing this shifts your perspective from victim to observer, empowering you to choose a different, more effective response. Now let's get into the heart of the matter, the 12 types of people you must identify, and the Stoic strategies to protect your peace from their influence. The drama magnet. We all know this person. They are constantly embroiled in some form of crisis, a never-ending saga of grievances, injustices, and chaotic situations. Every conversation with them quickly devolves into a detailed narrative of their latest misfortune, their bitter feud, or their outrage over something trivial. They thrive on the energy of crisis, and tragically, they often seek to pull everyone around them into their dramatic orbit. They might not intentionally mean you harm, but their constant need for an audience for their woes, their inability to find solutions, and their fixation on conflict will inevitably drain your empathy and infect your mental space. You find yourself spending hours dissecting their problems, offering advice that's never taken, and feeling emotionally exhausted, only to realize their storm has now settled over your clear sky. The Stoic response here is profound in its simplicity. Don't carry their storm into your clear sky. Marcus Aurelius spoke often about the importance of protecting your inner citadel, your mind. When you engage with the drama magnet, you're essentially opening the gates of your citadel to their chaos. It's not about ignoring their pain, but recognizing that you cannot heal a person who benefits from their own wounds. Your role is not to be their constant emotional receptacle. A practical step you can take is to implement a daily emotional audit ritual. At the end of each day, briefly reflect. What emotions did I absorb today that weren't mine? From whom? And how can I better guard my energy tomorrow? This simple practice creates a boundary, allowing you to observe their drama without becoming a participant. The guilt tripper. This individual is a master of subtle manipulation, turning your inherent kindness and sense of duty against you. They leverage your empathy to make you feel perpetually obligated, or worse, guilty for daring to live your own life. After everything I've done for you, or, if you really cared, you would, are their unspoken, or sometimes very explicit, weapons. They might frame their requests as desperate needs, imply your inadequacy if you don't comply, or subtly remind you of past favors to ensure your compliance. Your well-being becomes secondary to their perceived needs, and any attempt to assert your boundaries is met with sighs, passive-aggressive remarks, or thinly veiled accusations of selfishness. You end up feeling emotionally blackmailed into actions that go against your own judgment or desires, leaving you resentful and depleted. Understanding this dynamic is key. They are not genuinely seeking help. They are seeking control through emotional leverage. From a Stoic perspective, respecting yourself means not allowing anyone to manipulate your free will or hijack your sense of virtue. Virtue, for the Stoics, is an internal good, not something dictated by external pressure or emotional blackmail. An empowering exercise is to write out the boundaries you have every right to set, without any need for explanation or justification. For instance, I have the right to say no to requests that overextend me. Or, I have the right to prioritize my own peace. Rehearse these boundaries mentally. Remember, your kindness is a virtue to be given freely, not a currency to be extorted. The complainer. This person is a vortex of negativity, perpetually finding fault with everything and everyone, including life itself. Nothing is ever good enough, every solution has a flaw, and they thrive in a state of chronic dissatisfaction. They're not looking for answers or support, they're looking for validation of their misery. While initial empathy is natural, prolonged exposure to a relentless complainer is like breathing stale, heavy air. It saps your energy, dulls your spirit, and can even begin to rewire your own thought patterns towards pessimism. You might try to offer solutions, point out silver linings, or encourage a different perspective, only to be met with another wave of complaints, leaving you feeling helpless and drained. The Stoics emphasized living in accordance with nature and accepting what is beyond our control. The complainer stubbornly resists this acceptance, choosing instead to rail against reality. Your valuable energy, which could be directed towards meaningful action or personal growth, gets squandered in a fruitless attempt to cheer them up or fix their unfixable problems. A powerful Stoic practice here is Stoic silence, not as an act of rudeness, but as a conscious choice to observe rather than to engage with or absorb their negativity. You listen, you acknowledge their words without necessarily validating their emotional state, and you refuse to offer solutions where none are desired. It's about letting their words pass through you like water, without clinging to them. This creates a psychological distance that protects your mind from being overwhelmed by their pervasive negativity. Now let's shift our focus to the second group, moral threats. These are individuals whose presence, if allowed to linger, can subtly corrupt your principles and compromise your sense of integrity. The manipulator. This is the person who is intelligent, often charming, but fundamentally unkind. They have a remarkable ability to subtly twist situations, conversations, and even your own perceptions to serve their agenda. They don't resort to brute force. Instead, they use cunning, emotional appeals, and selective truths to bend you to their will. You might find yourself agreeing to things you normally wouldn't, doing favors that feel deeply uncomfortable, or even doubting your own memories because of their intricate web of influence. They can make you feel like their pawn, losing your sense of agency. The Stoic analysis here is crystal clear. True self-respect means never allowing anyone to control your mind or dictate your values. Your internal integrity is paramount. Epictetus taught that what truly belongs to us is our faculty of choice, our will. When you are manipulated, that choice is being subtly taken from you. To counter this, a powerful daily practice is to write a mantra each morning. I am not their pawn. This simple, consistent affirmation helps fortify your mind against external control. Recognize that a manipulator's cleverness is not a virtue if it's used for malevolent ends. Your strength lies in your unwavering commitment to your own moral compass, not in playing their game. The unprincipled opportunist. This individual believes that the ends always justify the means, no matter how ethically questionable those means might be. They will cut corners, exploit loopholes, and even betray trust if it helps them achieve their goals. Their presence can subtly teach you that success demands sacrificing your soul, that integrity is a weakness, and that true advancement requires a ruthless pragmatism. You might feel pressured to compromise your values, to look the other way, or even to participate in actions that leave a sour taste in your mouth, all in the name of getting ahead, or being practical. The Stoics would argue that what you gain through unprincipled means is never truly gained. It comes at the cost of your inner peace and self-respect. Seneca warned that no one can live a happy life, or even a tolerable life, without the pursuit of wisdom. Wisdom, for him, included living virtuously. True security comes from internal alignment, not external accolades gained at any cost. A powerful practice to counteract their influence is to create a personal list of 3 to 5 core values you will never compromise, no matter the perceived benefit. Is it honesty? Loyalty? Compassion? Write them down and refer to them regularly. This serves as your unshakable anchor, reminding you that certain prices are simply too high to pay. The gossip addict. This person thrives on the misfortunes and perceived flaws of others. Their conversations are filled with whispers, speculations, and judgments about individuals who are not present. While it might feel like harmless social bonding initially, being around a gossip addict subtly pulls you into a world of negativity, distrust, and superficiality. You become complicit in tearing others down, and the constant focus on external narratives prevents you from engaging in deeper, more meaningful discussions or focusing on your own growth. You might also realize that if they're gossiping with you, they're likely gossiping about you when you're not around. The Stoic perspective views gossip as a highly corrosive habit, both for the speaker and the listener. It pollutes the mind of the one speaking far more than it harms the person being spoken about. Marcus Aurelius emphasized focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts and actions, and external events are precisely what gossip thrives on. A potent antidote is to try a 7-day no-gossip challenge. For 1 full week, consciously avoid speaking about absent individuals unless it's genuinely positive or constructive. You'll likely notice how much mental space this frees up and how it reorients your conversations towards more valuable subjects. This practice isn't just about avoiding others' flaws, it's about cleaning up your own mental landscape. Now let's move to the third group, energetic drainers. These are individuals who, perhaps without malice, systematically diminish your vitality, leaving you feeling depleted and unmotivated. The envious. This person simply cannot genuinely celebrate your successes or find joy in your good fortune. When something positive happens to you, their reaction might range from lukewarm acknowledgement to subtle criticism, or even an attempt to one-up you or diminish your achievement. Their underlying envy acts like a cold front, chilling any warmth you might feel from your own accomplishments. You might find yourself downplaying your successes around them, or even feeling guilty for your good fortune, simply to avoid their negative energy. This constant subtle drag prevents you from fully embracing your own happiness and progress. The Stoics understood that true happiness comes from within and is not dependent on external validation or the approval of others. Envy in another is a reflection of their internal state, not your deficiency. It's not about avoiding them entirely, but about maintaining an energetic distance. Recognize that their emotional landscape is not yours to navigate or fix. A powerful, internal practice is to send them a silent blessing or wish them well, and then consciously move on. This isn't for them, it's for you. It's an act of emotional detachment, protecting your inner state from their corrosive comparisons. Your progress is your own, and its light should not be dimmed by another's shadows. The overcompetitive. For this individual, every interaction, every achievement, every aspect of life is a contest that must be won. They turn even the most benign situations into a battle for superiority, needing to prove they are smarter, richer, more accomplished, or somehow better than you. This relentless need to compare and dominate makes authentic connection impossible, and turns every shared experience into a thinly veiled competition. You might feel constantly judged, under pressure to perform, or exhausted by the never-ending race they've imposed. The Stoic approach to this dynamic is not to refuse competition entirely. Healthy competition can be a motivator, but to refuse to allow someone else's need to win define your own worth or your path. Your value as a person is not a score to be measured against others. Marcus Aurelius urged us to focus on our own leading principle, and not to be swayed by the opinions or pursuits of others. A liberating practice is to re-establish your own criteria for success, that are entirely internal and non-comparative. What does your success look like, independent of anyone else's metrics? Is it growth? Learning? Inner peace? By clearly defining your own finish line, you step out of their race entirely, leaving them to compete against shadows. The attention seeker. This person constantly needs to be the center of the universe. Every conversation eventually pivots back to them, their needs, their achievements, or their problems. They interrupt, dominate discussions, and find ways to divert focus, often subtly diminishing others to ensure their own spotlight. Being around them means your voice often goes unheard, your achievements are overlooked, and your own life narrative becomes secondary to their incessant need for validation. You feel overlooked, unheard, and strangely invisible in your own life. The Stoic response here is not to fight for the spotlight, but to understand its fleeting nature. True self-worth doesn't require external validation or constant applause. As Epictetus might suggest, your dignity comes from within, not from how much attention you command. A powerful counter-strategy is to shine in silence. Focus on your work, your character, your genuine connections, without seeking recognition or competing for the loudest voice. A practical exercise is to try a 3-day no telling my story challenge. For 3 days, consciously focus on listening to others, asking questions, and being genuinely interested, without offering anecdotes about yourself or diverting the conversation back to your experiences. You might be surprised by the depth of connection you can achieve and how much energy you conserve by not needing to be the center. Finally, we arrive at the fourth and perhaps most insidious group, dangerous to your self-worth. These are individuals whose interaction patterns can subtly, yet profoundly, chip away at your confidence and distort your self-perception. The passive-aggressive. This person never confronts directly. Instead, they wield a silent arsenal of thinly veiled insults, backhanded compliments, sarcasm, subtle sabotage, and prolonged silences. They communicate their displeasure through attitude, dismissive body language, and carefully crafted omissions, leaving you constantly second-guessing yourself, feeling confused, frustrated, and subtly hurt. You're left trying to decipher their unspoken resentment, exhausting yourself in a futile attempt to understand what you did wrong, or worse, to force a direct confrontation that they expertly evade. Their goal isn't resolution, it's to maintain control by keeping you off balance and making you feel guilty. The Stoic mind refuses to participate in such psychological games. From a Stoic perspective, directness and clarity are virtues. Engaging with passive aggression is like trying to catch smoke. It drains your energy and offers no constructive outcome. You are dealing with someone who is unwilling to communicate honestly, and by trying to decode them, you hand over your mental peace. Your strength lies in your refusal to be drawn into their unspoken drama. A powerful counter-strategy is to respond with unwavering clarity and no emotional charge. If they say something ambiguous, calmly ask, What exactly do you mean by that? Or, could you be more direct? If they respond with silence, you accept that. By refusing to play their game, you force them to either communicate honestly, which they usually won't, or retreat, because their weapon relies on your emotional reaction. The condescending mentor. This individual pretends to offer guidance and wisdom, but their true aim is to assert their intellectual or experiential superiority. They frame their advice as profound insights, often delivered with a patronizing tone, subtly implying your inadequacy. They might interrupt, dismiss your ideas, or use jargon to make you feel less intelligent. While there is genuine value in learning from others, the condescending mentor uses knowledge not to empower you, but to maintain their elevated status and make you feel small. You might leave conversations with them feeling drained, less confident in your own abilities, and vaguely ashamed, despite having received advice. The Stoics taught us to learn from everyone, but to worship no one. They valued wisdom for its own sake, not as a tool for ego. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the only thing that is truly ours is our judgment. Your capacity to think, learn, and grow is internal and not dictated by another's perceived authority. You can extract the valuable lessons without accepting the accompanying condescension. A powerful practice to protect your self-worth is to reflect on and write down 3 key learnings from any interaction, completely detached from the person who delivered them. By separating the wisdom from the delivery, you extract the value while rejecting the diminishing energy. This reclaims the power of learning for yourself, stripping the mentor of their perceived ability to control your sense of worth. The nice controller. This is arguably the most dangerous type because their control is wrapped in a cloak of kindness and benevolence. They are always helpful, always supportive, always doing things for you. But every act of kindness comes with an invisible string attached. They use favors, emotional support, or even gifts to create a sense of obligation, subtly directing your choices, your friendships, or your life path. Saying no to them feels incredibly difficult, because it means rejecting their goodness and risking being labeled ungrateful or selfish. You find yourself trapped in a web of obligations, constantly doing things out of niceness, or a uniquely Vietnamese concept of deferential respect/obligation, rather than genuine desire, slowly losing your autonomy. The Stoics were clear. Kindness without freedom is manipulation in disguise. True virtue is freely chosen, not coerced by obligation. Seneca wrote extensively about genuine generosity being a gift, not a loan that demands repayment. This person isn't fostering your independence, they're cultivating your dependence. A profound Stoic reflection here is to make a list of things you find yourself doing primarily out of any or perceived obligation, rather than genuine willingness. This awareness is the first step towards reclaiming your autonomy. Understand that your worth is not measured by how much you sacrifice for others, especially when those sacrifices are subtly coerced. Learning to politely decline, to set boundaries, and to prioritize your own well-being, even if it causes momentary discomfort, is an act of profound self-respect and truly Stoic freedom. So, there you have it, 12 types of people the Stoics would urge us to approach with caution, and sometimes, to simply create distance from. This journey isn't about becoming cold or judgmental. It's about becoming clear. It's about sharpening your discernment so you can identify the subtle energies and toxic patterns that drain your peace and compromise your principles. Protecting your inner world is not selfish. It is the most fundamental act of self-respect and the foundation for living a truly virtuous and tranquil life. Remember, walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom in motion. It's an affirmation that your peace is non-negotiable, that your values are sacred, and that your energy is too precious to be squandered on those who seek to diminish you. You possess the inherent power to choose what you allow into your mind and your life. As Marcus Aurelius so powerfully stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Use that strength. protect your peace. Which of these 12 types have you encountered, and what strategies have you found effective in dealing with them? Share your insights in the comments below. Your experience might be the very wisdom someone else needs to hear. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to True Stoic Mindset for more practical wisdom on cultivating inner strength and navigating life's challenges, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our future discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to a more resilient and peaceful existence. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and protect your peace.